Anti-Afro Svengalis, I wanted to follow up regarding the situation with Antonio Johnson, the assuredly fired probation officer who had positive findings. And when I say positive findings, substantiated findings, multiple substantiated findings in response to complaints that were filed with the community supervision / probation department. First and foremost, none of it was at all a surprise. But before I get into the commentary, I want you all to know that the slandering, slithering, extortionist, whining, I need a new Yassa Massa is in full swing, trying to find a replacement. Being a little bit nostalgic, reminiscing, caping for the Yassa boss that is no more. But I want to let you hear the description of the Yassa boss, or Yassa Massa, who's being missed. The slandering, slimy, low-life extortionist is in tatters. Check this out, folks.
Sometimes he goes too far,
He's going crazy.
Wrong. If you could have heard the man just 2 days ago, if you could have heard a man, God, you were going to call him crazy?
Fucking A.
I just want to talk to him.
Well, man, he's gone away.
The man is clear in his mind, but his soul is mad. Oh, yeah. I mean, what are they gonna say, man? When it dies, man, when it dies, he dies. What are they gonna say about him? What are they gonna say? He was a kind man? He was a wise man? He had plans? He had wisdom? Bullshit, man! Am I gonna be the one that's gonna set them straight? Look at me, wrong.
You're an errand boy sent by grocery clerks to collect a bill.
How's that for excellent descriptions of both the errand boy and the massa? It is indeed possible, people, to have a clear mind and a mad soul. These subjects know exactly what they're doing. No doubt about it. Including this attempted conversion into victim once the accountability stage kicks in. But I want to make sure everybody knows how this was kicked off. Not negating the fact that everyone is responsible for their own behavior. The match was lit because Mona could not handle the fact that I refused to go in on breaking the culture of silence for no reason. That I refused to go off on Stargate. That I refused to start a beef with Keeping It Plain. I just don't start beefs with people just because they say something that I don't like. And as a matter of fact, the circumstances didn't even meet criteria. The issue, Mona had problems with Stargate and breaking the culture. And she accused Keeping It Plain of saying things about women. She had an issue with Keeping It Plain hanging out with Fold Up Body. And she wanted me to call him out. She wanted me to call out breaking the culture for shit she wasn't even sure she did, but refused to address it with her. Had an issue with Stargate, refused to address it with her. She wanted me to bring shit all here to the YouTube streets. I'm not doing anything like that. I will do stuff like that if it needs to be done. The first order of business is to go to the person. What is the harm in trying to go to the person? If you've had no issues with the person in the past, what is the harm in addressing it with the person? There is no harm. Now, if someone comes out and they just start going off on you out here in these YouTube streets, you know they're trying to get a fake beef going. I'm going to ignore that shit 98% of the time. I'm going to disregard it because you know what's going on. They're just trying to get bullshit going. That's not my gig. It's never been my gig. But if I need to say something, I'm going to say something. In this instance here, Mona was mad. She was itching for a fight and wasn't going to stop until she got one. And I want to make sure this is unequivocally clear. I am not going to care if somebody runs off and starts, quote, hanging out with somebody when they were claiming to be cool with me. If somebody wants to go and rock with whoever, go rock with them. I'm not going to go and chase you down. You're not going to piss me off because you're going to go and be with whoever. Go be with whoever. But isn't it interesting? When I start interacting with someone that they don't like, it's a grand production. It's called the Calvary. It's the sky is falling. They got everything to say. There's all these criticisms about who me, AFW, friends and supporters interact with. And of course, the foundation is attacking every single person. This is the backdrop of this whole GJ drama, Antonio Johnson disaster. Attacked every single person, every friend, every supporter, every innocent bystander, every neutral party, every person who refused to publicly attack me. Friends and supporters were targeted, were ridiculed, were set upon, were harassed with the intent of trying to torment them, trying to make their life miserable. Constantly were made reference to the Al Show. Essentially every week, his name was brought up. No, I wasn't sitting over there in Antonio Johnson's live stream. I would constantly get people telling me, is the Al Show over on DJ Drama's page? I'm like, what are you talking about? The Al Show doesn't go to DJ Drama. What? He keeps mentioning his name. What do you mean he's mentioning his name? He keeps saying stuff like, well, he's going to try to catch the link. And if he tries to catch the link, I'm not going to let him up. He's not welcome here, but we'll always talk about every single week. And of course, we know the obsession with one of my dearest friends, Rev G. The obsession absolutely, positively beyond bizarre. I can't think of anything downplayed any more than the targeting of black men in and around the Umar Johnson sector. They are harassed and targeted to a degree far beyond females. They are sexually harassed far beyond females in and around the Umar Johnson sector. Sexually harassed, stalked, slandered. And the threats of violence are very graphic. Their families are set upon to an extent that is more significant versus women/females. But here's the situation. This is why DJ Drama, Antonio Johnson, found himself in the situation that he's in. How he got started, how he felt so emboldened, how he really believed he had punched his ticket. He was in residency, like like they say, Las Vegas residency. He thought he had a residency for the next 10 years, targeting Rev G. He saw the reaction that he got. He was unwilling to let it go. He saw the response that he got. He saw the approval that he got. He saw the accolades that he got. He was encouraged to continue on. And anyone associated with us, he got the same response. It went off the charts when Mona gave him that Social Security information in late 2023. It was the point of no return. Threw every bit of caution to the wind, placed literal career and livelihood in peril because it was intoxicating. It was addictive. Refusal to let it go. I'm going to keep coming up with stuff to say about Rev G. I'm going to dissect every aspect of Rev G's life. Everything. I will say any and everything about his life because I know this is me punching my permanent ticket. I'm smug. I'm secure. They will never find me. But here's the problem. I am convinced, I am 100% convinced that it was Mona that turned him in, that exposed him, because she was abandoned. She gave that Social Security information, and it was off to the races. DJ Drama felt emboldened to continue to dig around, and that's when he started digging in those databases on his job. Continue to be fueled by the frenzy. Had to continue talking about Gerald, coming up with any and everything he can come up with, and throwing me in as, the side. I got to throw her in for extra measure, okay? But it was Gerald he got the most satisfaction out of targeting, out of harassing, thinking he was humiliating. You know what? I got to make sure it's known. Gerald was never humiliated. Gerald was never embarrassed. You did not stop him. You did not prevent him from getting anything. He continued to defend himself. He continued to prosper, but they don't have a right to do what they did. DJ Drama never had the right to do what he did. So it deserved an answer, and an answer it got. It is boggling of the mind beyond any level of comprehension that a supposed grown-ass, I don't want to call him man, would throw it all away for Rev G based on what strangers who don't give a shit about him were saying and doing and applauding and encouraging. They were the ones that encouraged him to do all this shit to Rev G. Rev G still has his job, money in the bank, house, no problem paying bills. And what do we have here? Antonio Johnson. And nobody's going to convince me he still has that job. His behavior was criminal. You hear these subjects running around saying, oh, it's not a crime, only if he's trying to sell the information. It's a criminal act in Georgia, just like it is in all 50 states, to illegally access a criminal record data bank, to do anything related to researching any information about any person in the legal system, in the criminal justice system, in any of these restricted databases, who you're not providing services to, who you don't have a need to know about. A criminal offense. And you know where that originates from? It originates from these police departments and probation departments and state agencies and county agencies getting tired of paying these lawsuits. We don't hear about these cases because the media is too busy trying to manipulate us into only focusing on police brutality when a black man is a victim. Yes, we need to focus on that, but we also need to tell the public when these police officers and probation officers and other public servants get fired for doing the things that DJ Drama Antonio Johnson did. They quietly fire them and settle with the victims. But these agencies got tired of settling. They got tired of keeping these public servants on the job after they went rummaging through people's records and giving the information to God knows who. So in a lot of states, illegal access to these databases is a felony. So if you have a felony, you're automatically disqualified. Now in the state of Georgia, some of those offenses are misdemeanors and some are felonies. It would take research and comparing the specifics, but they're criminal offenses. Any access to a criminal justice or criminal record data bank in Georgia is a crime, whether or not the information is sold. And he lied to the investigators. How in the hell is he going to be an employee with the state with those conditions? How the hell is he going to be an employee with the state, keeping his job under those circumstances? Impossible. It's not going to work. No one told Antonio Johnson to do what he did. He decided on his own because he had to be seen and heard. He had to be known as the one that got to Rev G, that took down Rev G. And during the whole time, he was taking himself down, trying to make everyone think he was the one to shut Rev G up, to put Rev G in his place, violating the law the entire time. We don't need to defend ourselves and in doing so violate the law. There's no need to violate the law if somebody needs to be put in their place. The fact that someone needed to stoop to that level says so many things, all negative about them. So here we are with DJ Drama, guarantee you jobless. It's the state employment office / unemployment office, depends on how it's labeled in the state. They make the ultimate decision about whether or not unemployment benefits will be paid. And if a person was fired based on misconduct connected to the job, that renders them ineligible for unemployment. So unless the probation department doesn't take any action and voluntarily agrees to pay out of their fund his unemployment, he's not going to have a problem. But I don't believe it. Why in the hell would they want to pay out of their unemployment fund to someone who made significant, substantial breaches and violations of the law in total disregard and lied about it? There's no way he's going back to that job. No way, folks. I got a lot more I want to say about this. Consider this an introduction of sorts. But for now, you know the drill. Buyer beware.